Hello, welcome back to Natty Void Nation. Today we're doing a theory video about Orihime because I still got get the last episode of Orihime death out of my mind. Like, bro, I hope she's okay. I do think she is dead at the minute. I don't think it's a thing. I know there's been a lot of speculation to saying that Yuabaha is just seeing a future version of where he does die and this doesn't actually happen. I don't think that's the case because I feel like if you do that, it's gonna piss a lot of anime fans off because it will make Orihime death feel cheap and also Ichigo's new Bangai also feel cheap. It just because like if you're saying that that battle never actually took place, we never actually got to see Ichigo go Bankai, we never got to see the team of Rukia and Orihime sacrifice, it kind of feels like a wasted episode. So I don't think they're gonna go that way of it just being a future possibility that Yuaba saw, and then in next episode they're gonna break Ichigo Bankai. I I have a few theories of how we can bring Orihime back and what makes the best sense. Still, I do want to give props to Orihime, especially now that we got Orihime has a new sort of power up that we didn't see. Like, this is a feat that I think she was using her black to power herself up in terms of power her ability to reject everything. It got strengthened by her using her own blood, which this is something new and something we only saw in the anime. It doesn't happen in the manga, and they literally, especially after last episode, I wanted to rewatch because I wanted to make definite sure that I wasn't missing anything. And yeah, last episode is like a completely different episode to the things we got in the manga. The fight is completely different. Orihime's sacrifice is really well done and really emotional. So that's why I don't think they're gonna like say, oh, it was just a dream or a future possibility that Yuhabaha saw. I think this actually happened, but I could see her staying dead. I mean, it is a possibility that this is her sacrifice, but she could be the one that kills Yuhabaha. This could lead Ichigo to getting a new power up if she stays dead, or if she's like if she does stay dead, it could lead to Ichigo becoming the Soul King because there is nobody around in the human world. Like in the manga, he builds a family with Orihime. That's not if she's gonna stay dead, then his son doesn't exist. The question of Rukia Renji relationship, the questions of if the anime is actually gonna continue to the Howl arc or even the manga. I know the Howl arc is about to be serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump. That's all gone if she stays dead. That way I think her staying dead is very unlikely, but I do think that like they're gonna say she did die, and there may be something in either her power or like other theories I have that would keep her alive. But yeah, because we need to get to the stage in the fight between Ichigo and Yuabaha where Ichigo sort of like gives into despair after his Bankai breaks. Ichigo Bankai has not broken, but I feel like there are ways that it will become broken. But yeah, so let's start my theories of like how I think Orihime will be done. I think the most possible answer is Yuhabaha. Yuhabaha, seeing his death, will use the Almighty to basically reverse it. And by reversing it, he basically saves Orihime. Now we know Hasbro loses his power against Isida by the end of episode 5 because Isida was successful in putting the glove on his hand and that stole his Hasbro's power. So he definitely lost to Almighty. I honestly don't know if that fight's finished because that fight could be also done. Isida can make his way to Yuhabaha. But otherwise there might still be more to see in Isida versus Hasbro. But yeah, So we as manga readers all know that Yuhabaha power is basically he can choose the multiverse he wants that wants and rewrite reality. It's not the power to like see the future. He can see multiple future and then he figures out the timeline that is best for him and he sort of pulls at that one. So that will happen. So like if Ichigo does a Katsuki to attack him and it should hit, he finds one where it doesn't hit and he's undamaged. I think he's going to do the same thing with Orihime. The issue here is it wouldn't make sense for Yuhabaha to be like, oh, Ichigo Bankai is so powerful, I'm gonna destroy it, because the person that actually killed him was Orihime, not Ichigo. So his Bankai is not as big of a threat as it was led to believe in the manga, because in the manga, you don't actually ever get to see his Bankai. It literally, Ichigo about to say it, and then Yuabaha just breaks it immediately because he says how dangerous that is. But we literally saw them fight with his new Bankai, and Yuabaha won against Rukia and Ichigo simultaneously. So I think what will happen is I think there's still more fight with Yuabaha and Ichigo. I don't think that's it for his new Bankai. I think we might see a little bit more. I think next episode or maybe next episode may focus on the Ishida fight, but like episode 7 will go back to Yuabaha versus Ichigo. I think in this fight we're gonna see Ichigo try and protect Orihime as like Yuabaha will dance both of them. Orihime has sort of exhausted herself. She got carry on. Yuabaha is gonna try and kill her because he doesn't want to die by Orihime hand and Orihime threat. I think this will make Ichigo go to the like a next level to try and protect Orihime so he doesn't watch her die again. I also think this is where like he confesses like how much he cares about Orihime and like it will strengthen their romantic relationship. I think I could see that happening, and then while Ichigo is sort of leveling up in his Bankai and fighting, he actually does manage to kill or damage Yuabaha to the point where Yuabaha is scared of Ichigo's Bankai to the point where he then, like in the manga, breaks a Bankai in the future. I think that's the most likely possibility of the theory of bringing Orihime back, because not only do you bring her back, you also show why Yuabaha decides to break Ichigo's Bankai. Instead of just straight up kills Orihime, because realistically, Ichigo Bankai at the minute isn't really a threat to Yuabaha. Honestly, Yuabaha is not even at full strength when you put Ichigo down, because Hasbro still had the Almighty. And now Hasbro doesn't have it. I think because what Hasbro did, what Ishida did to Hasbro, it actually saved Orihime. So that's my fast theory. I think this is the most likely of Yuabaha basically using his power to bring himself back at Orihime, and then Ichigo trying his hardest to protect Orihime and eventually ends up scarring at the heart in Yuabaha to the point where he's afraid of Ichigo Bankai and decides to make sure to deal with it. Now my second theory is actually Orihime. Orihime has this new power up. We never seen something like this before. But she literally got sort of a crown at the end and she leveled up. But all that really happened was an explosion. And we don't see her body. So we assume that she's dead. There is a question or two things could have probably happened. And this is sort of theory number 2. I think this is less likely, but I think this could be happening. Either Orihime didn't die, but she could have maybe transported herself to the primordial world. I know her power is meant to like stab on God's realm. That's what like Aizen said back in the Regimundo arc. That's how strong her power is. And like this episode 5 clearly showed that her power is stabbing on God because it's literally killed Yuabaha. Um, so I could see her like actually getting transported to the primordial world, or like because it's her power is actually manipulating time and stuff. She could be put in like a different time period and they have to go rescue her. I think that could be a possibility as she's not actually dead. She's just trapped somewhere. And Ichigo and his friends will use the Bankei and the resources and the abilities to go and find her. Because if we keep Yuaba dead, we still could go like 5 other episodes to see what's going to do with. And we only really got 1, maybe 2 more fights left in the show. So the show is coming to an end pretty quickly. The second thing is, because again it's like time manipulation, I could see Orihime losing her powers, but it is at the cost of like the fairies decided to bring her back. And they like use all the Retsu spiritual pressure to literally bring her back. And it's sort of like a time delayed resurrection that Orihime has. I could see that because she has new powers and we haven't really shown what the new powers can do, how strong they are. And it does make sense as her power is to sort of defy time, like reject things back to the original state. She could maybe have done that unconsciously to herself, saving her life. But I think this is a lower end theory. I think more likely the Yuabaha one will work. And my last theory, honestly, this is the theory that I'm not too sure of because I don't know if they're gonna really show more of the mystery of Ichigo's Bankai. But I do remember people talk about Ichigo Bankai being sort of something that catch fight. I could see Ichigo like breaking his own Bankai, and there would be anime original to do something where he gets the fight and he changes Orihime's fight. He saves Orihime's life at the cost of his Bankai. I could see him doing that to bring Orihime back. Like this new Bankai he has, I think it got Blood the Chains Bankai. This is all new, so we honestly don't see anything. But like, it seems that like he can create shadows, and then he can teleport to any one of those shadows. But I'm wondering if they're not shadows, but it's like because he sort of controls like the fight, and a lot of people talk about his Bankai controlling fight. I think maybe these shadows are different possibilities of what he can attack or what he can choose to attack with. And that like Yuabaha is seeing all of them and he can pick one so quick that like Yuabaha could have time to react. And that way he's able to use his spiritual pressure and like teleport to his shadow and attack Yuabaha. And it seemed to actually get Yuabaha off guard a few times in the fight, even though he eventually lost. So I could see him fighting maybe a way with his Bankai because we don't know so much about his Bankai. We could find a way that like he finds a way to save and undo what Orihime did to protect her, because what does Ichigo fight for? He fights for his friends. There's no way he could bear the thought of losing Orihime and still just move on with his life. I think that loss of Orihime will haunt him unless he gets her back. I do think he's gonna get her back. I'm also just hoping he's gonna get her back because I do like them as a couple. I do like Orihime. I feel like Bleach will miss Orihime because she brings a different type of energy to the show, because she's one of the few characters that is in fight but doesn't like fighting. She's a really peacekeeper That sort of personality to have in a shonen where like most people are like fighters is really frustrating. So I feel like she's has a unique thing in Bleach. That being said, that's all my theories or like how Orihime gets back. I do think there might be other things that could help, but I don't think they're really high. I think these are the main three because like we need to go back on the manga sort of unless we actually are doing a new ending, which if that's the case, Ichibei coming in could be the final bad. We also got Aizen. Now I know some people theorize that Aizen could have used his hypnosis on Yuabaha to sort of uh, trick Orihime or Orihime didn't actually die. But I just don't think that makes sense. Firstly, he's not even close to the castle. And secondly, like that's a long fight. And Yuabaha has the Almighty, so he should be able to realize, oh, he's under illusion if the fight goes on for so long. And the fight did go on for so long. I will say, if it is the theory that a lot of people think it is, where it's just a possibility of the future, I don't know how I would feel because to me that theory, well, it was good in the manga because we never actually got to see this form. It kind of disappointing. We only had that theory because we never got to see this. We never got to see Ichigo's true Bankai. Now we get to see Ichigo true Bankai. I feel like it would be a shame to say that, oh, it was just a dream, this fight never happened. I feel like with your power, it's much more interesting to say this did happen, Yuabaha nearly died, and then had to use his power to save himself. It gives like the hero's hope, but it also shows how cool this form is and how cool Orihime was. Because then we get to taken away. I'm gonna say this. Last episode was Orihime's best moment in the entire Bleach anime. I don't think it's even close. I think that's her best moment, sacrificing herself for Ichigo. So if they say, oh, this is just something, a future event that you about saw but never actually happened, I think that would be very disappointing. That being said, those are my three theories. If you have different theories or how Orihime might survive, or if you truly do think she is gone, put in the comments below. But yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.